So we cannot claim to be disciples of Christ if we are not following the words coming from the mouth of Christ. Jesus is saying the way to salvation is this way, but you take off towards a different or an opposite direction. And yet you still claim you are a disciple of Jesus. That doesn't work. In fact, that kind of Christianity or discipleship is, like we were saying last time, fake. It is just fake. It is just make-believe. It is a makeshift kind of thing. Not even makeshift, maybe just fake. Because if we claim that indeed we belong to Christ, then it means that we sit at the feet of Christ to listen to his words and to obey his word, to obey his commandments. No wonder he's saying in today's gospel that if a man or a person loves me, that person will keep my word, and my Father will love him. He who does not love me does not keep my words. Maybe we can ask ourselves, what is Jesus trying to refer to when he says, he who does not love me, or she who does not love me? If you don't love God, what does that mean? It means you have heard the commandment, the word coming from the mouth of Christ. You know what is right. You have been told this is right, this is wrong. Yet you still, with full knowledge, you still decide to do the contrary. Everything is there. Everything has been laid open. This is what you need to do for you to be a faithful disciple, for you to be a good Christian. This is what is required of you. But since we do have the faculty of free will, we still make a decision to go the opposite direction. That is what it means not to love God. Some people want to understand loving God as just sitting in church and listening to the priest or pastor or attending to a religious activity. But do you know that so many people can sit in church and yet maybe only 2 or 3 are concentrating? Only 2 or 3 are indeed paying attention, and not just paying attention, but have the intention to put into practice what they are learning. The rest maybe are there for other motives. The rest are there just to accompany other people. Maybe the rest are there just to be seen that they also belong to that particular church or that particular parish. They also belong to that committee, just for their own name. But they have no intention whatsoever of putting into practice what they learn. So loving God in this case means not just sitting in church, but going an extra mile, following or having the intention at least to put into practice what one learns. So we are dealing with 2 things here, loving God and not loving God. And the person that has the intention to follow what is coming from the mouth of Christ, that person is creating space in their heart for Jesus to come and create a home. And I think that is what we need for our spiritual growth, to intentionally create space in our lives, in our hearts, so that God can come in there and pitch a tent. So many of us are Christian by name, because within our hearts, we have allowed other things to pitch their tents there. There is no space for God. There is no space for Christ. There is no space for forgiveness. There is no space for kindness. There is no space for love. There is no space for peace. There is no space for justice. No space for any virtue at all. Because the little space that we have in our heart has all been taken up by other things that we have accommodated. Grudges, hatred, and so many other things that we can mention that have replaced God in our lives. So those of us that are listening to this word today and still want to claim to be Christian, maybe can ask ourselves a question: do we really love God? And if we do, have we intentionally, deliberately created space so that God can come and stay with us? Or do we just claim that we are Christian, that we belong to that church, we belong to that parish, we belong to that lay group, that choir, and so on and so forth, but then there's nothing to show for it? I think this is a challenge that is being posed to you and me, so that we reflect on our spiritual standing before God. How do we stand before God? Are we true disciples? Do we really love God? Or maybe we just claim that we do, but then what is in our hearts is something that has completely and totally replaced Him.